Hi guys, today I would like to show you my Arduino made Line6 POD Pro pedalboard. That's made to work almost in the same way as the original factory made Line6 pedalboard, but it has some different features. So I will switch the devices on now and tell you how it works. First of all, check the connection. So you have to go. The main thing is that you have to go from the MIDI output on your MIDI shield in the pedalboard to the MIDI input on the back of your pod, and then switch the devices on. Sometimes it could not work. I just seen that sometimes I do the connection and then switch the devices on, and they seems not to work together. And what you have to do is just switch them off and switch them on again. The pod first and then the pedalboard first, or the pedalboard first and then the pod. Doing the second time generally works. So let's start from the pod. Okay, and then let's connect the USB cable to switch the pedalboard on. You can see this nice LED sequence that's made just to check that every LED is working correctly, and it seems they are. Now it seems that they're not working together because you can see bank 0 and tuner on the pedalboard, and you see bank sound 1A on the pod, but this is not the problem because we have just switched them on. I will tell you later how to make them work correctly. Now I will just explain you what every button and every knob does and what every LED show. First of all, these two holes, at the moment they're not working because I wanted to put them to add maybe to add the chance to have the chance in the future to add one or two expression pedals to control volume or wah, but for the moment they're not working. You can see that there isn't any wire connected to them. This knob and this display show you the MIDI channel, so rotating the knob you can change the MIDI channel. Okay, I'm sorry you can't see correctly in this display. I can't fix that, but as I turn the knob, yeah, then the number changes. And obviously make sure that the number shown here is the same shown on the pod if you push the MIDI button. So pushing the MIDI button, you go in the MIDI channel selection mode, and you can change the MIDI channel from 1 to 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, over 9, the dot means that you are over 9. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This means all, so the pod is listening to every MIDI channel. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. And the way the channel is shown here is the same. It is shown here. Okay. Yeah, my apologies again that you can't see, but here you have 9 and the dot appears. Maybe you can see it. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and so on. Let's come back to channel 1 on both devices. Yeah, that's done. And let's get out MIDI channel selection mode on the pod. These two buttons allow you to change the bank. You know that pod has 9 banks of 4 sounds each, plus manual mode plus tuner mode. So bank 0 means manual mode. Okay, and pushing the button you can go to bank 1, bank 2, bank 3, bank 4, and so on. You still can't see any change on the pod, and this is not a problem. I will tell you later why the devices seems not to be working together. So yeah, this is to change the bank. Let's come back to bank. Let's go to bank 1. And these buttons, these pedal buttons, make you change the sound inside the bank that's set here, and you will finally see some changes in the pod. So let's say bank A. Yeah, it doesn't change because the pod is already in bank A, but when I push B, the pod follows the pedal board. C, B. And when I push this button again, when I will push this button, the pod will go on in 2D preset. Yeah, and when I push this pedal button, the pod will just follow my selection on the pedal board. Okay, 6B, C, 6B, 6A, etc, etc. This button is to set the tuner mode on. So wherever I am, whatever bank I have, whatever preset I have from here, tuner mode will make the pod go in tuner mode. When I am in tuner mode, you will see that changing the bank here does not make anything happen on the pod. This is because the pedal board is still in tuner mode and is not sending any program change. The only way to get out tuner mode is to push one of these buttons. If I push it again, nothing happens. Okay, this button is just to recall tuner mode, not to change in between tuner and playing mode. It is different than the button on the pod, because you see, if I push the button here, I go out tuner mode. If I push it again, go in, out, and let's come back again. Anyway, so this button on the pedal board just makes you get into tuner mode. The only way to get out tuner mode from the pedal board is pushing one of these 4 buttons. And when I will push, for example, button B, the pod will go in 5B sound. Yeah, takes a bit of time, but it follows my pedal board. One important thing to remember is that when you are, for example, playing live with the pod driven by the pedal board, always do operation from the pedal board and never from the pod. Because you have to remember that the pod listens to the pedal board, but the pedal board doesn't listen to the pod. So whatever you change from here, from the pod panel, the pedal board won't see anything. So now I'm in 7-8 presets on the pod, but the pedal board thinks we are in tuner mode, and when I will push one of these buttons, it will go in bank 5. Anyway, it will make the pod change correctly, but I think you risk to have some problems if you keep changing, doing operation from the pedal board and from the pod and then from the pedal board again. One important thing to remember is that the MIDI channel selection can be made just when I am in manual mode, okay? From the pedal board side. I mean, if you do it from the pod side, you can do it whenever you want, okay? I'm in 3C mode, let's push MIDI, and I can do it. Or when I'm in manual mode, I can do it again. Or even when I'm in tuner mode, I can do it in tuner mode. Anyway, from the pod I can do it generally from the pod I can do it whenever I want. From the pedal board I can't you see, if I rotate this knob, nothing happens. Nothing happens. I have to go in manual mode. Okay, I wanted to make it this way just for safety reasons, because sometimes vibration make the channel change by himself, and it could be very bad when maybe you are playing, you have to go, for example, you have to solo, and you push the button from the pedalboard, but nothing happens because the pedalboard is set to one channel. Sorry, the pedalboard is set to one channel, and the pod is set to another. So remember that you can change the MIDI channel just when you are in manual mode. Okay, now let's talk a bit about manual mode. So when you are in other modes, you can change from one preset to another by pushing this pedal. When you are in manual mode, these buttons apparently don't make any change. Let's see, I'm still in manual mode. The point is that in manual mode these buttons are not sending program change, but control change. In detail, A button set distortion and boost off to have a nice clean sound. B button set boost off and distortion on to have a rhythmic crunch sound. C button sets boost off and distortion. C button sets both distortion and boost on to have a solo sound, and D button basically just don't do anything. Okay, the idea was to do some maybe tap tempo from here for delays or effects, but I still haven't done it. Okay, I want to make it in this way because I thought that could have been useful to use the pod just like a normal amplifier, but actually I didn't find it very useful because the way the pod is made. I mean, if you set from this knob, if you set a nice clean amplifier by pushing button B, you don't have a really nice distortion. You just have a slightly dirty clean sound. And if you set a nice crunch sound, some high gain sound by pushing A button, you just have a distorted sound with a bit less distortion. So I didn't find a much difference between A and B sound. So you can't, for example, have a very clean sound on A button and a high gain sound on B button. So unfortunately it didn't work in the way I wanted. But anyway, if you want to try this feature, you can give it a try. There is another nice thing that this device allows you to do, and you can see that I have a MIDI cable going from the output on my pedalboard to the input of the pod, but I also have a MIDI cable connected to the input, and this cable comes from my MIDI audio interface. You can't see it on the screen, but I have a computer connected to my MIDI interface, and on the computer I'm running Apple Main Stage, and I set Main Stage to set MIDI program change. So I will show you some random changes. that I will have by clicking a button on my computer. And you can see that the program changes in the same way on the pedalboard and on the pod. Okay, I'm doing some random program changes. Obviously you have to set also the correct MIDI channel on the audio interface too. I don't know if you could find this this feature useful, but anyway, you have it. Before closing the video, I would like to talk to you about a little bug that I found. This doesn't make any big problems, so I didn't want to spend time to fix it, but I will just tell you about it. So now you see that I am in 2D preset, and if I push tuner button, the pod correctly follows this instruction. But if I change, I go to manual mode while I'm still in tuner position, in tuner mode. When I will push one of these buttons to get out tuner mode, you will see that the pod doesn't follow the pedalboard correctly. Okay, but in the moment I push any other button, it does. Okay, so when you go to the, let's do it again from any other preset. Okay, 5 seeds. Okay, so every time you go in tuner mode and when you're still in tuner mode, you go to manual mode from the pedalboard. Getting out the tuner mode, when you get out the tuner mode, the pod will not follow the pedalboard correctly at the first time, but it will do at the second. Okay? Okay guys, we've done. Hopefully you found this video useful and I didn't bore you too much. You will see the wiring diagram in the end of this video, and you will find the code and the part list in the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you soon.